Welcome back, team, to a brand new Wolf Builders episode. We're currently working on this pool house project, I guess you could say. Look how wicked it is. The scaff has been dropped and we're ready to rock and roll to start installing this awesome vertical shiplap weatherboard. Now it's a pine, it's been pre-primed, and it is trying to match in with the existing cladding system. Now, I went backwards and forwards with a few different suppliers trying to find the right width of the actual face panel and the right width of the groove, but it's fairly impossible to match that with the old stuff, which I'll go and show you in a second. But this is the best we could come up with. It's a nice cheaper option than cedar, I guess you could say. And it pretty much goes on the wall like this. You can see our horizontal cavities. We're going to be smashing this cladding out in the episode, so make sure you stay tuned to you. Alright, we're going to be starting with this wall right here, the easy one. Nice straightforward wall, no penetrations or anything like that. All we're going to do is pretty much smash this out. Now there's a few different ways we can do this with set out. We could go through and overcut all the boards, whack them all on and then cut them off at the end to get a nice clean look. Or we could measure them, cut them and install them perfectly straight away. I like to measure and cut them perfectly straight away. And that way that's done, we don't have to revisit it. So yeah, pretty much what we've done is we've run the string line at the bottom, and that's going to set the bottom of our weatherboard heights, so we can get a nice straight line all the way through there. There is another way that we could do it, where we could bolt a piece of timber onto the slab itself all the way through, but unfortunately we don't have the correct equipment to do that, so we're using the string line method. Sweet, now that we know we've got a string line run perfectly level for the bottom of our weatherboards, so when we go to start laying, we know it's going to be completely dead straight. The next thing we need to do is figure out layout. Now, what we want to do is we're just going to get a couple of offcuts, and the ideal situation here is that we want the weatherboards to fit perfectly in between both of these corners, and to make sure that, where's a rip board here? To fit perfectly in between these corners, and ideally we would like the weatherboard to go like this. So sit over, and honestly, Mikey, we could probably get away with that.
Dude, yeah.
So in an ideal situation, what we want is, because our high traffic area behind us is through this section right here, we want to try and minimize any of the rip boards seen on this face. And what I mean by that is I want to have a weatherboard sitting over the front face over here, and then this weatherboard on this wall is going to butt into it like that, right? So our rip will be down here and you'll only see it from this way. But as we start our layout from this way, we only got a certain amount of movement in the weatherboards, you know. They can only move half a mil on their lap. We don't want to go too big. What I mean by that is the spacing between the weatherboards. We want to keep them exactly the same all the way through. Ideally we want to keep it 6 mil, but we can fudge a little bit and expand that to 7 if we need to like make this work out. But unfortunately, in this situation, we just did the calculation and our spacing of our boards is 152 mil, and we did set the board up where we need it, which is like this. So we ideally want our board to sit over the edge so you don't see the rip edge on this side. And then what we do is we run all the way along and we calculate 152, which is our lap of our board, up to this point, which gets us right here. And unfortunately this is not good enough. We want to have a solid 20 mil piece of weatherboard over here like this in order for us to work. And then again, what that's going to do is going to change the distance of where our weatherboard needs to start, and also we're going to have this weird little dicky, but where we're going to be ripping the board, the tongue or the lap off the board, and we're going to have a 20 mil space between the edge of our board and the groove, which isn't going to look that good. So I would rather push the weatherboard back to where it needs to be and have the rip face of the board showing, and we'll try and disguise that as much as possible and make it look really nice and tidy. So that's pretty much how we set up our boards in a long-winded explanation. But now that we know exactly where our board wants to be, we're going to set that up and we're going to frickin' smack this out. So how do I know what ones go on first, Mikey boy? How do I know what ones go on first?
Closer to you is starts first. 2 stacks at that end is for the other side.
Sweet, so these ones first, eh? This is sort of just a one-person thing, eh? Really, eh? Pumped it. All right, now we've started to make our way around the corner into our little nitty-gritty bits. Put together this corner, nice, very nice. I've gone against my own will and actually went flush 2 bits of timber instead of putting a quirk. And I'm gonna sand and fill, and I'm hoping, well, don't need to really fill. I'm hoping I'm gonna be able to hide that joint. I don't know if I made a mistake there or not on that one, but it's all screwed, glued, and everything pinned together. So making our way around. Now, the only thing I'm concerned with here is, as I'm working my way around, I don't have any fixing point for this corner here. So I'm gonna whack in a bit of 2L Keel glue. Just along the joint here. I have powdered in with a couple of clinch nails, but I still want to sort of hold it all together. So hopefully. Hey. Beautiful. Well, I'm still waiting for you to do that corner so we can start over there.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, so, yeah, like here, like, yeah, right. So I just want to check. Oh, yeah, look at that.
Oh, right.
Plumb as and straight. Both ways. Oh my gosh, yeah. Sweet. That means our framing is done, right? Then I just check that this is straight.
Who did that corner framing and that flashing?
Bro, we did this corner like 7 times, didn't we? So that way, now that I've sort of screwed this down, I'm hoping that the glue will adhere these 2 boards together and sort of stop the one from moving as much in the future. Oh, you're putting it on the wrong board.
What? No.
Oh, he's just making up his corner now too, so he just made sure we've primed the edge arm, and then we're putting a flexible sealant on there to join the 2 boards together, keep it nice and watertight, and also adhere 2 together. And then, what do you want to do? Do you want to hold this one up like that? Yeah. Just like that?
Sweet.
Beautiful. Sweet, now we'll need to try and at least put some screws in that to hold it together while everything goes off. So we'll just use, should we get a couple of clamps, clamp that together? Yeah, see, notice that our screws are sticking out. We don't actually have the correct size screws in this situation. You can see that they could potentially run through like Mikey's pin right there. We'll have to cut out. But what we've done is we've intentionally tried to keep this distance here and this distance here the same, just to keep a bit of continuity, and it makes it look nice all the way through. Oh, and he's figured out this little tricky area here. What's going on? Let's go, take it over.
Do it. Up.
Yeah. That's it. Keep going up a bit more. Yeah?
Yeah.
Right. Beautiful.
Right.
All right, you've done a pretty good job there. We'll let that dry out. So you can see why we've sort of left it over, because our cladding actually runs over through here to finish off this detail through there. All right, so as we make our way around, we've just been doing this beautiful, nice straight wall, square cuts, everything like that. We wrap around and we start to hit a raking wall like this. So our measurements change slightly. Every measurement, every board is going to be a different length due to the raking ceiling. But a good way to sort of quickly get through the boards and not measure on the wall itself every single time is to offer up a board on the lap side, and because we know it's square down the bottom, you can see I've got a little mark at the top of each one of these. That's where my next board laps up. You can see these 2 little bits. So what we want to do is we're going to use that as a measurement to be able to get our next length. So obviously I've already cut the next board. So let's just say that it's 2591, I remember. So we'll go and replicate that over onto the next board, which is pretty easy, and so on and so forth. And of course, we're just going to keep double checking that our angle is nice for our roof plane, and also our bottoms are nice and flush at the same time. So I just want to screw this board off quickly and check it for straight, and then we'll see if this is going to work. Because they always change slightly. You'll notice it, whatever it is, it always just changes slightly. So don't go cutting 20 of these thinking that you're going to be bang on. Whenever I'm straightening a board with my straight edge or a laser or anything like that, I'm using the face of the weatherboard, that's the scene face, like that. I'm not using the lap that isn't going to be seen, because there could be a few deviations in it. Especially like these weatherboards are actually a little bit all over the show, not going to lie. So always just use it on the face as I come along. Just going to come into my next board through here. Make sure my angle's nice. Then of course I'm going to head down as well and just make sure that I'm pretty good. Pretty close. I can feel it under here. I'm about 1/2 mil out. So hopefully that doesn't continue to happen as we move along. That's why we only do 2 or 3 boards at a time. Otherwise we will creep out slightly. So I'll get Mikey to go grab the next board and we'll just check it. Okay, yeah, no, we're getting out already.
Creeping up.
Yeah, have I got one more there, Ray? Yeah, well, my angle has gone back. It's probably gone steeper again, which is probably what's catching us out now. 16.5.
The next one, or the next one after that one?
This one here, we're gonna add 2 mil onto it. Gonna call it quits for the day and we'll catch you in the morning. Whew. All right, we're back on site this morning. We're gonna leave this area for now, just due to the fact that we have to disconnect the hot water cylinder to get our cladding all the way through. Now that we've set this up in such a way that we can actually disconnect it straight away, which is pretty cool, but we wanna let the clients know before we actually dismantle it. It's quite early in the morning. Dismantle it, disconnect it. So we're going to start over here. Willie's using our No More Cracks Sally's exterior that we got gifted, which is pretty neat. He likes those. He's rating the filler at the moment, and we're going to start through here. So a few things to take in consideration. We actually need to put a 12mm packer along the top here, because we've got some 12mm V-groove linings that go in here. We want our cladding to butt up into that plywood. And then another little situation is this window here. In the previous video we said the profile, the aluminium profile on the outside, the external profile here isn't matching the other side. I want to keep continuity through both of those, so I'm getting that replaced. Now the glass and the door panels don't need to be replaced at all. It's just the frame around the outside, which is cool. Cost me $500, but I need to do it. It's gonna give me a bit more peace of mind. Just one of those things, little bits like that you just miss, and you learn from in the future, eh? Mikey boy. But that's cool. So let's rip into it, quite literally, put our packer up and start throwing these in. 526, bro.
First one.
Hey?
First one.
Yeah. Alrighty, ready to rock and roll. Now I do have a little concern here, because my next board is going to lap over onto this one, and I'm going to be fixing straight through my PVC flashing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to layer a little bit of silicone in the area I think it's going to go. That way hopefully it seals that penetration when it might be a bit extreme, but better to be safe than sorry. Yeah, I like that.
I really like that.
Yes, a bright and
coming up into around our window area here. And one thing to note is we've got to have 2 top coats on the underneath side of our head flashing cut here. It's going to be super difficult to get in and paint that once the weatherboard's up, so we're making sure that we're getting two coats on before it goes up and in there. That's something that the councils always pull us up on the final inspection. So we're just doing it now to make it easy for the painter. We've got we're doing about 7mm gap for the head flashing point. A little bit short up there, or what's that go? What we'll do is we'll actually, so instead of doing 15 degree on the back side here.
I'll go flat.
No, not flat, maybe just go 5. That way I can actually get a bit of silicone on the back side there too. Oh, it's gonna go over that way, you see. Yeah, we're gonna head it back out onto this side over here. You can't see from inside there, but we've got this little valve here. This, we're gonna turn that off. And that means we're actually going to be able to disconnect that hot water cylinder on the outside, which is pretty cool, and continue through there. The reason I'm doing that is just because we've got up to the head flashing height over here. I've got a few little bits and pieces to do this afternoon, so Mikey's going to carry on doing that. Like a glove. Just like a glove team. Don't worry! Perfect, bro.
Oh, it's almost like we could have done it yesterday.
Oh, don't even get me started.
Like 10 minutes too.
Far out. It was just sitting right where I left it.
Pillow.
Hey?
Pillow.
Pillow.
Yeah.
Why?
To sleep.
Axon panel and deal with this bloody top part up there. I think I got it sorted now. I just need to create a back flashing for it. I got to draw those up as well. Back flashing there and back flashing in the alfresco dining area as well.
It's all painted. Look at that.
Alright, is that finished? Final coat?
Ow.
Woo, what's happening, Wolfgang? Back on site again this morning, smashing out the cladding right behind me over there. I'm all by myself. Mikey and the boys are doing other things, but at least I get to chip away on this nice cold day all by myself. So my system is, well, I'm trying to think of a system through here just to make it a little bit faster. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut like 3 or 4 boards a little bit oversized through here, and then I will mark them with a 7mm packer and then recut them again, just so I can get things perfect. Just trying to figure out a good system to speed this process up a bit, I think. What I've also done is I've also put some marks on my tape for where my screws need to go, so I can easily mark it out as I'm going. Hey Queen, yeah. How you doing? Got a little bit here with the old rep and his manager come out. We're just having issues with the weatherboards. Might be hard to see on the camera, but I can get the angle. Not really, eh? It's hard to tell. Let me see. Maybe, I don't know if you guys can see in here. It's almost like the timber has pulled from when it's gone through the mill. Like the knives in the mill or the milling machine weren't quite sharp enough, and it's pulled all the timber like this. And it's like here, pretty much on every board. And there's been like big splits, like some of these, like, I know I get it at the end, but you know, like heaps of stuff, like just big hunks are pretty crappy, you know. We're spending a lot of money on it, so see what we can do with the rep anyway. See that? Pretty much like that on most of the boards, like on all these cracks. Crazy. Oh no. Holy crap! Oh my gosh, I think it might be a pack-up. Might be. Holy crap! Holy crap! Oh my gosh! I will mention that this board right here is a bit of a sucky one, to be honest, because I've got a small ripping that runs up the side here, and then same here with my corner. It's going to be really hard to get nice, but perfect. I'll just let you guys pull the stuff out and then I'll unscrew.
Yeah, after I take it out,
Yeah. Now, you want to tie that? Enough? Or do you want a bit more? Oh, I've got a bit more. Sorry, boy. What a frickin'. Alright, so pick up from where we left off yesterday. My final weatherboard through here didn't end up in a very nice position. You can see I got a small run up the side through there, and then also sort of lats over here. So I've got a really small lap that sits over, which I can't really fix into here, obviously. But yeah, I think I can make it work. I always just put together a temporary corner like this just to make sure that everything's going to work well, and then I'll rip up the full board right now, which is that there, which is kind of good. Kind of very nice, very nice. I like that. Just means it's not going to be able to get a good fixing on there. Okay, let's do it. So now pretty much I've just got this little story rod right here, and this just gets lined up with the top of our board. You just put little dots right where our screws need to go. Now this has been ripped down to 32mm because that's the distance off the edge of the weatherboard we need to be for our fixing point. When I'm using my pre-drill, I'm using a drill bit that's 1mm smaller than the nail or the fixing that I'm using. So now I'm going to focus back on my corner sort of touch dry. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create small rebate where my two corners meet, my two boards meet. Show you what I mean in a second. So you'll notice that I've sort of created quite a high bead with the silicone. That way, when I go to stick my next piece on, it all connects into each other really nicely and sort of makes this really small sword flashing type detail, I guess you could say, that's flexible. Beautiful. Now, I don't know if this is going to be a good or a bad thing, actually sealing this corner to here, but to have a feeling in the future this could potentially flare out a bit, so I'm just doing everything I can to connect the two together because there's nothing really fixing that on. Maybe I do try and fix that. There you go, it's all back.
Yeah.
That's a good excuse not to carry anything, eh?
No.
So as I'm putting these weatherboards up, I'm doing things a little bit backwards. Normally, we put the weatherboard up, then I'd use these little clinch nails, right, to hold the weatherboard in place, like this. A cool little nail. They're 40mm by 2mm. They got a little head on the end like that. That's a bit of a twisted one. What it does is it holds the weatherboard in place prior to fixing. We don't want to be pinning through the weather groove over here. The reason we're using these, so the board can expand and contract over the seasons. Now I've found it's actually easier to put the board on and screw it up with these jolt head screws, and then put those in. Now it's probably not necessary, but I'm just thinking about the future, and that this one screw is going to be holding the back side of this board and the front side of this one all in one spot. So I'm just using these clinch nails to sort of pull this back edge of the board in against the cavity, and it also allows me to get a good 2mm expansion gap between the back of the board, because that's what we need to do, which is pretty cool. So it gives me a good space between the back of the board, those little clinches, and then yeah, just screw it on. Another thing I'm aiming for is to have my screw on a close to a 5 to 10 degree angle, and it's facing up, and that's just what the detail shows. Yeah, it just sort of helps the water not, if any water does get in behind the fill, it doesn't track into the house itself. It's sort of slightly on an angle. Well, I think that's what it's for anyway.